Hey dude, the dumb phone. It's a pretty weird concept. The idea of buying a device that purposefully has less features is a little strange, but it's one that has become very popular in recent years. While smartphones continue to be sold across the world, a developing community has begun to worry about the mental and social implications of constant internet interaction. The dumb phone aims to solve a lot of those problems. So did they succeed? And why would a product designed to do less be so popular in the first place? I have a lot of videos on the origin of the smartphone, from BlackBerry to Nokia, Motorola to Sony. In the early days of cell phones, every phone was what was called a feature phone. A feature phone can make calls, yes, but it also comes with added functionality. Maybe it had a camera or a web browser. These phones have that extra utility beyond just phone calls, but they lack the added functionality of what we now call a smartphone. They were often very unique, as the design of these phones sold units just as well as the features. Phones would swivel, slide, and flip, and they had keyboards or number pads, and almost never had a touchscreen. Companies like Palm and Nokia started introducing models that could be considered the first smartphones. They were called PDAs, phones that could send emails or faxes, give you directions, and a touchscreen that was operated via stylus. All sorts of fun new stuff. The world of small handheld phones was taking off from the 90s all the way to the late 2000s. Phones were getting cheaper and more abundant. But I think we all know what truly got smartphones to the popularity that they have today. That's right, in 2007, Apple launched the first iPhone. While there had been plenty of phones that could be considered smartphones before this, the iPhone truly revolutionized the industry. They had perfected touchscreen controls, UI design, navigation, web browsing, communication, and so much more all in one package. The release of the iPhone jump-started the industry into a period of extreme innovation that lasted well into the 2010s. In fact, I've talked about the story of Android, which rose up as a direct competitor to iOS. Its open source design meant that any company could use it, and it created a sense of competition. The constant innovation made phones smarter and smarter, until they evolved into what they are today. Rectangular slabs of metal and glass with near instant access to any platform. You see, that's the problem. Phones aren't fun anymore. They're kind of just designed to steal your attention. Modern apps make money off of that attention, tracking your every move and selling you personalized ads. I mean, think about it. How many times have you opened your phone to do one thing and then found yourself scrolling Instagram for the next 40 minutes? Don't feel bad. These apps are literally designed to do that. While more people adopt these modern devices every day, a good portion of the population is beginning to yearn for the days when our attention wasn't divided by these big corporations. It's difficult to pin down the earliest examples of dumb phone usage, but it can likely be traced back to the creation of social platforms like Instagram and Snapchat. While these platforms allowed us to become more connected, they actually seem to drive us apart. Many studies, like this one from the University of Pittsburgh, show a direct correlation between social media usage and your risk of depression. This sentiment among the population, especially young people, is what led to the creation of the dumb phone. Today, there are hundreds of videos on this very site and posts all over the internet about ditching your phone to live a better life. Over the past few years, plenty of companies have popped up creating new devices specifically targeting this market. People have even been picking up their old brick phones from the 2000s for, as the New Statesman put it, an antidote to smartphone addiction. But what exactly is a dumb phone, and how do they solve the problem? But first, a word from this video's sponsor. Thank you to Incogni for sponsoring this video. Dudes, a large component of the dumb phone industry was user privacy. Basically, whenever you visit a website or use social media, your data is being harvested. Companies like Instagram will buy this to better serve you ads, which is, a little shady, but there's a lot of bad actors out there who will buy it to either steal your identity or scam you. Thankfully, when you use the proper channels and ask these sites to take your information off them, they legally have to. A subscription to Incogni allows you to take your information off of hundreds of sites worldwide in just one click. Like, check this out. I just got through the questionnaire and entering all my info, and Incogni had already taken my information off of 81 sites. On top of all this, the service is super transparent and easy to use. I like how not only does it tell you exactly who had your information, but it also gives you an estimate of how much time you saved. This whole process took me like 5 minutes. It would have been quicker if I wasn't recording it, but they saved me 99 hours. With a 30-day money-back guarantee, you really can't go wrong. So what are you waiting for? Take back your personal data today by using code OWENCOOK at this link for 60% off an annual plan. Thanks to Incogni for sponsoring this video, and thanks to you dudes for using my links when I have them. All right, back to the video. A dumb phone in its very essence is the opposite of a smartphone. Its purpose is to remove all distracting or unnecessary features. All social media sites are removed, and the only thing remaining is applications and features essential for the user, literally taking away your choice to distract yourself. They come in many forms, depending on the user. Like I said, the earliest example of dumb phones were people picking up their old feature phones from the 2000s, or buying old ones on eBay. But it wasn't just a way to avoid distraction. Here's how New Economist put it. The rise of the dumb phone comes as part of a broader Y2K revival in popular culture. Where on Instagram and TikTok, Motorola Razrs and Nokia Slides are being used as fashion accessories alongside skinny scarves and butterfly clips, becoming as normal to the Gen Z wardrobe as low-rise jeans. These retro devices were not only a response to mental health and time-wasting concerns, but they were a fashion statement. Of course, when new trends arise, companies begin to capitalize on it. The first major company was Punkt. They were founded in 2008, with their first product launching in 2011. It was literally just a cordless home phone, designed to simplify your calls at home. They continued to release devices to replace phone reliance, like an alarm clock. They released their first mobile phone in 2015, the MP01. While it was a success, the phone didn't fit for everybody, because it lacked a touchscreen. Typing on a big numpad was a little too cumbersome for many. People wanted to use the phone to be free of distractions, but they still wanted it to be easy to use. Then, another big player rose up. It was a new company called Light. I think there's a whole nother video in here on just the design language of these companies. It's really funny how they've all agreed to use just lowercase letters and just monochrome colors. The first Light phone was announced on Kickstarter in 2015, then launched in 2017. This phone only did calls, and it didn't even really have a screen, just lights illuminating the capacitive buttons. This whole time, Nokia had been making a lot of bar and flip phones. In fact, they never really stopped, which, by the way, if you want to learn about the history of Nokia, I have a whole video on it. To this day, they offer cheap keyboard candy bar phones, brand new. These phones, originally aimed at developing countries with lower wealth, have proven to be also popular with both the elderly and younger people ditching their smartphone. The best example of this is the Nokia 105 series, and it's proven to be their best ongoing model. With the first model released in 2013, they're still making new models, and the series now has over 200 million units sold. That makes it the 4th best-selling smartphone series of all time. Yeah, like most of these sales were in developing countries with not a lot of wealth, or elderly people who don't understand smartphones yet. But it was also making a slight dent in the dumb phone market too, so it should be mentioned. There's certainly merit to a brand new phone that doesn't have all of the features of a smartphone. The Punkt MP02 came out in 2018, which offered better connectivity, but it really wasn't that big of a difference over the 01. Then came the Light Phone 2 in 2019, which brought touchscreen navigation and much more, while still removing distractions. While there definitely is a market for these phones, that's why they're making them, there's a weird dilemma that they have to solve. Every person on Earth uses their phone differently. Therefore, no single dumb phone would solve everybody's problem. With every new model, there's always something that's missing. That's why each one offers slightly different things.
I feel like the deal breaker is the camera, or the lack of a camera.
Really?
Let's say I'm on a first date, you know, and I think I'm about to impress someone with my super sweet Light phone. Like, I'm disconnected, babe. I'm free. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't have control over me, you know, and then I get there and the menu's on a QR code.
Oh, you're screwed.
Then I look like a big dummy.
By now, the Light Phone 2 was kind of like the de facto dumb phone. And most recently, they announced the Light Phone 3, which was like the same thing, except they added a camera. It actually comes out this Thursday. I was gonna hold out on this video to see how it goes, but I'm gonna be on vacation. So if you order it, let me know how it goes. Many other dumb replacements to smartphones have popped up over the years. While some have monochrome touchscreens, others opt for a keyboard. They're all trying to solve a similar problem in different ways. Probably the most abundant form is these flip phones, like the Kyocera Dura XV Extreme Plus, the Lively Jitterbug Flip 2, the Cat S22, or the Nokia 2780. The Wise Phone series and the Boox Palma kept the general shape of a modern smartphone while dumbifying it a bit. Heck, the Boox Palma is just a modern smartphone with an e-ink display. That's sick. Things like the Palm phone that launched in 2018 were designed as a supplement to phone usage. It still had a color display and you could still download any app you wanted. It was kind of just designed as like a replacement for your phone usage, something that you wouldn't want to pick up as much. Some people just like put their Apple Watch in a case and use that as their phone. Heck, some people don't even buy a new phone. You can just dumbify your current phone. There are ways to do it on iPhone with widgets and whatnot. Some people even turn the color off on their screen. But where the dumb phone community really thrives is on Android. You can download a custom launcher that completely dumbifies your home screen. Without the red bubbles and colorful icons to draw you in, your phone may not become so distracting. I mean, I did it. This is what my phone has looked like for the past 2 years, and it works relatively well. The general idea is, once you open your phone, there's a million ways that you can get distracted. The basic premise of these launchers is that you're never distracted and you do the task you originally opened your phone for. That's what's so interesting about this problem. There's like infinite ways to approach it. You can go all the way to a black and white dedicated e-ink display, or maybe just modify the phone or device you have now. It all really depends on the severity of your problem and how much you're willing to do to change it. So really, a dumb phone is whatever you need it to be. There's something uniquely fascinating about the proposition of a dumb phone. It's something that advertises itself upon the things that it can't do. It's kind of counterintuitive.
There are so many things that the Light Phone 3 just cannot do. Can't post on social media, can't send an email, can't get you lost in some infinite feed. You can't steal your data and then sell it. Can't compete with your daughter for attention or interrupt your train of thought. Can't remind you that you're somehow missing out.
I'm gonna kind of go like off the rails from my typical history stuff and talk about like psychologically why this needs to exist. To sum it up, this is a uniquely first world problem. People in developed countries, especially young people, are becoming inhibited and depressed thanks to their increased interaction with technology. I mean, I know so many people in real life who have used some of the tactics that I mentioned in chapter 2. One of them watches my videos. Hi, Sam. According to a recent study, teens spend an average of 4.8 hours a day on social media sites alone. That is just brutal on your mind. Internet usage peaks at 17 years of age, with an average of 5.8 hours spent looking at a screen. Yeah, I'm a content creator, and I just look at my computer screen while I edit videos for like hours at a time, so it's way worse than that. It's very damaging for young, developing minds to be served content that is really only the best of others. Your friends, family, coworkers, and complete strangers all posting about their lives, but leaving out the bad parts. Young people open their phones and see people who are more attractive, funnier, and enjoying themselves more than they are. Now keep in mind, they're not idiots. Well, at least mostly. This is why the dumbphone movement is gaining so much traction. What's so discouraging about this is the pointlessness of it all. I read about this in a Mark Manson book the other day. The whole thing with the human mind is that we have problems. It doesn't matter how big our problems are, our mind always focuses on them. Now that children in developed nations are growing up without war, oppression, struggle, or poverty, it seriously f***s with their mind. Now that we don't have to worry about like what to eat tomorrow or if we'll even be alive tomorrow, silly things like Instagram become a big problem. Suddenly, social ostracism is a big deal. It's not only a possibility, but the end of the world in our eyes. While the internet promised increased access to information and communication, it did exactly the opposite. This is why the fascinating movement of dumbphones has grown so popular, especially among the wealthy younger generations. Oh yeah, some of these phones are wicked expensive. A Punkt phone runs you over $300, which pragmatically is crazy for something that only does phone calls. I mean, hell, it's just a souped up calculator. But what you're buying isn't the features, it's the lack of features. Sure, you could buy an old iPhone off of eBay and just not use TikTok, but that would require self-control. This is a new sleek package that not only achieves your goal, but makes you feel good. This is marketed as minimalism, but really it's just kind of like hoarding. Get rid of something and fill the void with all these new things. Because not only do you need to buy a dedicated dumb phone, but you're going to need other devices for all the other tasks that you're getting rid of. A camera, an iPod, a GPS, which, yeah, I've fallen for all of those things. It seems stupid, but I totally get it. While phones are practically useful, they prey upon our mental state in a way that needs to be replaced. There is no positive solution, because once you get rid of your phone, your brain is afraid of missing out. That's what makes digital minimalism, or put it simply, just ditching social media, so hard. So what exactly does this mean for the dumb phone industry and for the future of the consumer? The dumb phone industry is a fairly new one, but it's incredibly interesting what it has already brought to light about the cost of constant connection. The current smartphone industry has driven forward constant innovation and engagement at the cost of your own mental state. I get it. Phones are awesome. I have a whole channel about it. But the dumb phone industry highlights not only the history of smartphones, but the drawbacks. While smartphone sales continue to rise, especially in developing countries, this group of consumers has demonstrated an incredible amount of self-reflection. Sometimes you just gotta take a step back and realize that self-destructive phone habits are, well, self-destructive. Listen, the dumb phone industry backs up what I have always said. Phones, like any technology, are a tool. Like any new technology, they are feared by the elderly, hello every administrator at every school ever, and they're destructive in the wrong hands. But if you demonstrate a little self-control, and in this case, a little innovation, you can effectively use these tools. While seeming pretentious at first, the dumb phone industry is genuinely making a dent in the problem that the internet poses in our modern lives. And I'm excited to see what they cook up next. Thank you to all of my members listed right there on the screen. I have more videos just like this one. You can check out my Instagram at owencook.mp4, and party on, dudes.